Walgreens is now stocking Narcan on their store shelves.
As the news station's Tiffany Teasley reports, the medication can be a lifesaver if someone is overdosing from an opiate.
Narcan spray now available at Walgreens in 45 states, including Florida, in the hopes that it will save lives.
I lost my son a little over a year ago to an opioid overdose. It was laced with fentanyl, and had his quote-unquote friends had Narcan available, it would have saved his life.
Jennifer Hess says her 20-year-old son Jamison Hess may still be with her today if Narcan had been more accessible. It's one of the reasons why Walgreens Pharmacy is now allowing anyone to purchase Narcan without a prescription in 45 states, including Florida.
It's a huge step forward in a tremendous crisis in our country.
The box comes with 2 single-use sprays, which most insurance policies will cover. Without insurance, it's around $135.
There are 2 in here, so after 2 to 3 minutes, if they're still unresponsive, you are able to administer the second nasal spray.
Orange County Sheriff Jerry Deming says they've responded to more than 800 overdoses this year.
My deputy sheriffs have deployed Narcan themselves 91 times so far this year, so nearly 100 people would have likely died if those deputy sheriffs hadn't been there in under 4 minutes.
He says giving more access to the general public will save lives.
Whenever we can put this on more citizens, the chances of saving a life increases significantly.
In Orange County, Tiffany Teasley, Fox 35 News.
Joining us now to talk more about this, Carol Burkett from Orange County's Heroin Task Force. Carol, great to have you here. Let's be very clear, Narcan, there's no stigma attached to this, correct? If you go in and get it, it's not like people go, oh, so you do heroin. This is effective for a number of opiates, right?
You're exactly right. This is also good for parents, family members, and loved ones to have for prescription pain medications like Oxycontin, hydrocodone, morphine. So it works on all of those, including heroin, and what we're seeing now on the streets with illicit fentanyl.
And officers, we just heard from Sheriff Demings, deputies, this has been part of their standard equipment for a while now, hasn't it?
Absolutely. This is one of the key recommendations of the Orange County Heroin Task Force, was to equip officers and deputies with naloxone. And as you heard, they are saving lives every day by having this emergency medication available.
But we've got to be very clear, because while it can save a life, this isn't a cure-all if you're overdosing. You can't take it and go, everything is fine, now go back to sleep.
No, it's one important part, but they do need to seek medical attention. So it's critical when someone is experiencing an overdose that their family member or friend call 911 so they can follow that instruction by that dispatcher, but make sure they get to the emergency room and have that medical care, because they could overdose again after this medication wears off.
Is there anything difficult about the Narcan itself? Is there anything dangerous about taking it? Anything you need to be aware of if you're administering it?
It is a very safe and effective medication. It's actually been around for over 40 years that emergency medical responders and physicians have been using. It won't hurt anyone if you accidentally spray it on you. Okay. And if someone is not overdosing from an opioid, it will have no effect. So it's a very safe, effective medication for people to learn more about and have in their homes.
But it's also not something to, you shouldn't do this. If you're taking some pain medication and you're worried you might overdose, you can't preemptively take Narcan and go, okay, now I feel pretty good, I can still take these other drugs.
No, absolutely not. Someone has to be in that overdose state, literally, you know, within their last breath, and then you have to have someone else provide that medication, and it's the nasal spray that Walgreens is now carrying. The Narcan nasal spray. You
certainly couldn't administer it to yourself. You're in the process of overdosing. I don't know what all that entails, but you wouldn't be in a position to do it for yourself, correct?
No, you would not. And that's why it's important for family members and loved ones and friends to have this information and this medication.
Well, let me ask you this. How big of an impact do you think this is going to have that Walgreens is now carrying this?
Well, first of all, I applaud Walgreens for doing this and making it more readily available and accessible, because I think it is a critical tool in the opioid epidemic. And it's just one piece of it. You can't change somebody's life until you save their life. And this can save someone's life and then hopefully get them into the treatment and the resources they need to get in a state of recovery.
And I want to say it one more time. This isn't a cure-all. It's just buying you time, because once the drug wears off, which is only, what, about 90 minutes or so, the opioids that are in your system could cause you to overdose again, correct?
You're exactly right.
Okay.
It's a very short-acting medication, so you have that window of opportunity to administer naloxone, and then you have 30 to 90 minutes. So it's critical that you've called 911 and you stay with that person until our ambulances arrive and take them to the emergency room.
Well, it's an incredible health hazard that is striking our nation right now, and all these steps hopefully will save lives. Carol, great to have you here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's check in with Jamie King right now for a look at our